Hello everyone, in this video I want to show you how my tracking station works and give you a little introduction to it, maybe a couple tips to understand it better. Let me start by spawning it. I will connect it to a power source like this, fix it to the ground, auto align is very important. It really needs to be straight, otherwise I can't guarantee that it works. We open the door, get in, sit down and start the program. And then we need to calibrate the tower. So it's important that this thing is, heading to the north. So we click the button and then it rotates towards the north. And 360 degrees arrow is fine. I can click again, it switches to 0. So 360 or 0 is fine, it's the same thing. Restart. And yeah, we see the Earth already and the moon. And we can show a grid, terrain, or the day-night terminator. So if you go back to the geoscape, then you can see that you already see the day-night terminator, and you can see the moon. There's no data yet for the moon because it needs a couple of minutes to collect data. And we can see here this yellow thing is the subsolar point. And what else we got? We have a flat map, which is, well, it doesn't have any objects yet, so there's not much to see here. You can also switch to moon, object tracking basically on a flat map, but there's no object yet there, so there's nothing to see. What else? We have the time. The time should be rather accurate. I didn't try it out on different latitudes, but I think it should work actually. It's calculated based on the subsolar point. So these calibration parameters, you can just go with the default spin axis. It should be just fine. So you can also use estimated values, but I think you don't really need to do that. I guess it could become relevant on other planets, perhaps. So yeah, we have no objects yet, so let's spawn one. And as a demonstration object, I'm gonna use the auto orbiter, this one, from the workshop. Let's spawn it. And all we need is basically a beacon connected to power and a computer. So let's take this, put it here. Orientation I think doesn't matter so much. Let's put it to this computer and let's connect it to a power source. Whoops. It should be somewhere around here. Where is it? It's not so easy to find. Yeah, I was worrying about not finding this fast enough. Ah yeah, here it is. Okay. Then we go back. Oh yeah, what we need now is basically the code to send the metrics from the nav computer. So we go into this computer and we go to info xc, and we just need this basic beacon info function. That's it. That's all we need. We copy this, go back to the orbiter, and what we need now is some piece of code that actually uses this function. So first off, we will copy the code here. So the function that I just copied from the tracking station. And now we need a piece of code that makes use of this and sends it to the beacon. So the output is the beacon. It will be text. And we use an expression that will be this function. Basically, we call this function. And we call this orbiter. And type is like what it is. In the tracking station, there is a list of things that you could use if you want to. Let's use ship. And the nav computer is called nav in this orbiter, right? So if you click here, you can see the nav instrument has a device alias called nav. We're going to use that. This will output text, so we transmit that. And also we put the transmit frequency to 10. Save this. So we're going to use this code and put it here in this flight control main in the update section. And yeah, this thing we can delete it again. It was just for the sake of code generation. And that this doesn't work because we didn't include info xc. All right, and now it should work. We can also print the text. And you can see that here's our information, name orbiter, type ship, inclination, blah, 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 and so on. Okay, we don't need this. And now we need to configure the tracking station to track the object. So we go here to beacons. We use beacon 0. Put 10 because that was the frequency from the orbiter. Put it here. This is the beacon frequency, right? And starts already tracking now. And we can also set a different update interval for tracking. Let's also put 10. And positions, maybe put more, let's say 100 positions. I wouldn't put too many because that really impacts performance if you put too many of these. So I would not use this excessively if I were you. Especially not on the public servers because, you know, admins would, I guess, just delete the tracking station because it consumes too much load. Speaking of load, if you scroll or zoom around, this is actually pretty bad for the server load. I think if you do nothing, it's not too bad. You can see now it's at 8% on my machine. If I reboot the tracking station, it goes down. But it's not too bad. So for instance, if we measure the performance cost, it's like at 1%, start the program, it's at, yeah, 7% while doing nothing, basically, right? Just tracking stuff. And if you zoom around, then you can see it gets pretty bad. Okay, so yeah, we are tracking. So the orbiter is already shown here, as you can see. The velocity, by the way, is orbital velocity. So you have a base orbital velocity of 900 meters per second on the ground. And yeah, let's start the thing and see what happens. And off it goes. So now we can see how the values are changing. Yeah, we can zoom in a bit. And you can see the altitude is already 6 kilometers. If you want statistics, you can also click on beacons, and then you go to orbiter, and you click on stats, and then you can see here already that the altitude is increasing. You can also see that the velocity is increasing, apoapsis, periapsis, inclination, and the longitude. Yeah. If you want this telemetries or this data being exposed by the tracking station itself, you can put a frequency for that, a station frequency. I usually use 15. So if we go to this tower here, you can see that one of the beacons is actually exposing all the information now on frequency 15. You can see that it's, for instance, if we receive now 15 here, you can see this is the tracking station outputting similar telemetry and similar data. Also, it outputs the sun position, the moon position as ECEF, and so on. So let's see what happened to our orbiter. And you can see that it's already pretty fast and pretty high. You can also switch to ECI. So, and when you look at ECI, you can see actually how the Earth already rotated, right? because before the tracking station was here basically, and now it's over here. This is because of the Earth's rotation. And you can also click again here, and then you get orbital parameters, right? So at the moment it's not in a stable orbit yet, so you can see that it would basically go back down. So we need to wait a bit until it reaches some sort of stable orbit. It's almost at, yeah, perhaps this is already 200 kilometers. Maybe I can answer some other questions. So one question that I could think of would be like, does this work with other celestials? Does it work with other planets? And in theory, yes, but it would have to be added, right? So what you need basically is, I think you need one nav instrument per planet, and you need, I mean, in theory, you could iterate over celestials, right, with one nav instrument. I guess you could do that too. But for simplicity's sake, I guess you could just use one nav instrument per planet. And what you need usually is the radius for, rendering purposes. And you would need the gravitational parameter. And that can actually be calculated. It could even be measured in the game, actually. But yeah, that's what you need. If not, you can also take it from the ini files, from the Archean Celestial directory in your installation or on a server. So yeah, in theory it could all work with many planets and the whole solar system basically, right? It could also profit from some perspective improvements, but yeah, there is such a huge to-do list on this project, you wouldn't believe it. There's so much that can be improved on this tracking station, so many things. But yeah, let's get back to the orbiter. You can see it's at 200 kilometers altitude, and now I can, there's still no stable orbit. Now it should be in between the two continents somewhere, so we can actually teleport to the object. Yeah, sorry for the loudness. I hope it wasn't too loud for you. But yeah, you can, I have my own HUD actually. And I can show you where it is right now. So there it is. And this sort of matches what is shown here. Yeah, as you can see, the orbit is already getting bigger. And yeah, by now, maybe we also have some moon. No, still no data, but it will appear at some point, I promise. Yeah, here's some information about the data protocol, right? Like how the data layout looks that is being transferred. So yeah, also the types, right? Station, ship, vehicle, satellite. They're being rendered in a different way here in this view. Now I can also show you the flat view for Earth, and you can see here is the tracking station and the orbiter. And yeah, one of the more interesting features is now we have a more or less stable orbit. So now you can, for instance, click on one of these gray rectangles here, and if you would now accelerate in the prograde direction, let's do this by 2000 meters per second, then you would get this new orbit, basically. Right? And yeah, you can see how, where it would go, basically. You can see the new apoapsis and the new periapsis. The time that is being displayed I'm not so sure if it's that correct. It should be correct, but there's a minus sign, which is sort of irritating. So no warranty for that. I'm not so sure. The apoapsis and periapsis, they are correct though. So I think the time is also correct, but just the minus sign is wrong. I don't know. Yeah, as soon as there's data for the moon, you can also see the orbit of the moon, and then you can, try to match the orbit of the moon using the maneuver planner. It's not that easy though. Another thing is that selecting and deselecting might not be that obvious. So selecting, you can click here on the text, right? Or for deselecting, you can click here on the X. It also deselects stuff. So yeah, still no moon data, but I hope at some point it will appear for you. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Anything else? Not really. I am. The light will turn on when it gets dark. And yeah, I hope you liked the small introduction video. And hope you like the station. So then, have fun and goodbye.